Oh my God! You guys see Tesla stock took off again this morning? You guys see that? It's wild.
Do you have stock?
I don't. You know what? I talked like 5 times about buying it last summer. I drive a Tesla, and I'm fascinated by Elon Musk. And I just didn't pull the trigger, and I'm an idiot.
You put a deposit on a Cybertruck, didn't you?
No, that was just to fuck with people. Oh. I do have a Model X though.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have the SUV because I got.
Dude, I'm sure if you were to tweet out Elon, he'd respond. No.
No, he never has.
Oh, really?
Well, a few times I badgered him because they were supposed to put a supercharger, like it said Waukesha, which is like 5-10 minutes from my house, because currently the closest one's about 45 minutes. And they still have not put. They said late 2019, and it's still not there.
Okay. What kind of charge time do you get? It's like 3 or 4 hours, and then you get.
Well, at my house, I get a full charge overnight. Okay. But say like I need a last minute charge, I can only do 25 miles an hour at my house, but a supercharger will do 300 miles an hour. So say like something came up at the last minute, I couldn't charge it fast enough at my house if I didn't have a lot of battery. But if I went to a supercharger, I could charge it like really, really fast.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm still kind of looking at the fossil fuel scenario over here still.
Yeah, the Teslas aren't as popular over here. Now, this year, I think there's a lot more of them this year driving around.
They're more affordable.
The problem is we don't have the charging points for them. So the infrastructure isn't there for it yet. So once we get that sorted over here, I think people will start buying into them more.
Absolutely.
Start buying stock then as well. Start buying stock then as well.
Yeah, let's get in ahead of Ben. So we just want to chat to you about, so we have you're flying out next week. It's so close. I mean, we were just looking at Skype there. The last time we talked to you was back in August, just after you came on board for FightCon. And you're joining us on stage for the live podcast with Wonderboy. Have you ever met Wonderboy?
Yeah, I've hung out with him a couple times. He's a really nice guy.
He's a good guy.
Probably one of the only people you get on with and don't have any beef with.
I don't think you can have beef with him.
No.
Yeah, you can't. He's that kind of person, isn't he?
Let's see.
So that's gonna be fun. And then obviously we have FightCon on the Saturday. You're going to be on a panel discussion with
MVP. That's really funny.
MVP and Kiefer Crosby.
Paul Daly.
Did you say because Paul Daly canceled or something?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Look,
we can't comment too much on that, but
tell me off air.
Yeah, we'll tell you. We'll tell you off air.
We'll tell you off air.
What's the deal? We're off air right now, right?
No, we're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling. Okay, cool. Are we live?
Well, not live. We're doing a pre-rec.
Got it. Okay, cool. All good.
So it's yourself, Kiefer Crosby, and MVP.
Okay. Awesome.
Are you familiar with Kiefer?
No, I don't know him.
Okay.
He's a cool
big up and coming Irish welterweight who's now dropping down to lightweight. So he's fighting at Bellator Dublin this weekend. So his stock can't be higher at the moment, actually. So
what's his record?
I say 9-0. His one loss was a disqualification. So I always say 9-0.
Oh, so he's 9-1. But yeah, the DQs are kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like John Jones's DQ, it's kind of funny because he didn't really get beat up, so it's hard to count.
Yeah,
undefeated. Yeah, technically he's undefeated still.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you've had back and forth with MVP on Twitter. Did he ever respond to you on Twitter, or?
Man, it's been a while, so it's kind of hard to remember. I mean, my biggest issue with him, and it's kind of whatever. Bellator, they finally put him in that tournament, but it's like they feel like they just put him out there to get the highlight reel over and over and over again. But for me, it's like, I mean, I was pushed into the tournament in my 4th fight of my career, and then I got the fight for the belt, the 7th fight of my career. So it's like, hey, I'm fighting for a belt and then defending a belt, 7th fight of my career, 8th fight of my career, and so on. And now he's like, I feel like he's like 18-1 or something. Am I correct?
Yeah, about there. Yeah, 18-1. Yeah, about there. I don't think it's that high, but it's definitely in the mid to high teens. Okay. I think. Yeah.
I'll look it up real fast. And he's had a couple tough fights. Obviously Lima, which didn't go his way. But besides that, you look at his record. It's like, okay, Paul Daly. But for example, he's 17-1. So these last 3 fights, he's blasted these dudes. But like the one guy, Giovanni, whatever his damn name is, he's like 13-5. Like, he's not a highly competitive welterweight by any sense of the imagination. So, it's like I feel like they should be pushing him towards the title. And there are some pretty good guys on towards the top of that division in Bellator, and he's just not fighting a lot of them.
And do you think that's Bellator doing that, or is that he's kind of...
Yeah.
You think Bellator is kind of setting him up? Or?
I think it's kind of Bellator's model. If you look at they kind of did it with AJ McKee also. But then you look at someone like Aaron Pico, and he pushed himself too early, too fast. I mean, from fight number one, he was fighting a guy who's like 10-1.
Yeah,
and so
we all saw what happened there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I think there's a balance between fighting a really tough guy in your very first fight and getting to 15-0 without fighting anyone that good, right? There's some like have 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 fights where you're kind of getting your wheels underneath you. But then for me, it's like, dude, in MMA, shit or get off the pot. Either go prove you're one of the best and make a bunch of money, or go find something else to do.
Like, that's what I was going to ask you there, because you were saying, like, in your first fight, you don't want an absolute monster. Obviously, the UFC wasn't your first fight, but would you have preferred if you could choose anyone for your first fight? I know you said you would go in there and you'd fight anyone, but if you could have handpicked someone for your first UFC fight, who would it have been? Or would you have?
It would have been. I tried to push Darren Till. No, but it was. I wanted the best guys right away. I knew I was old. I knew I was old when I was getting my opportunity. So it's like I don't have a year or 2 years to dink around. I need to go in there and I need to fight the best guys right now. And so if you look at the 3 guys I fought, I mean, it's pretty much 3 Hall of Famers. I mean, Lawler's Hall of Famer for sure. Maya's Hall of Famer for sure. And Masvidal is now trending in that direction, right? Yeah. And so it's like I wanted to fight the best guys. My first fight, obviously, I wanted Till. I got Robbie Lawler, who's very good, former title holder. Then my second fight, it was like I went to London because I wanted to fight Till or Masvidal because I knew the winner of that's going to be ranked like number 2 or number 3 was what I thought. And so it's like, okay, if I fight one of them, I get the title shot after that. It's not like let me pick someone farther down the rankings and go from there. So yeah, it was like I need to fight the best guys right away because I am older. But again, if I go back to my Bellator career, I was kind of thrown into the fire really fast. Yeah. I mean, if you look at my first 6 fights, all happened within essentially the first 14 months of my career when I didn't really know what I was doing, and so I was fighting for the Bellator title within 18 months of my career starting. So then you'll get someone like Michael Venom Page. He started his career. I'm on his page in February of 2012. So we're 8 years into the career right now, and he hasn't fought for the title. I was fighting for the title 18 months into my career.
Do you think, not that they're protecting him, that he needs protection, but do you think he's one of their top European stock options, like in terms of their European stars? He's one of the top guys, and do you think it's them looking to protect the name, the image he has?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of that, right? And I brought up other guys like AJ McKee. Another guy who I think is really good, and they're kind of, they are kind of like not, I don't say protecting. I don't think protecting is the right term, but they're not pushing him fast enough. Is a guy like Logan Storley, who's a really good collegiate wrestler. Yeah. He's now 11-0, and he's not fighting the best guys in the division, right? And so Joey Davis is another one who's up and coming at 170. Like, they have some really good guys, and they're kind of giving them all paths where they're being undefeated. But it's like at some point, start mixing these guys up and start putting them against, and Michael Venom Page had the fight against Lima, but Lima, Koreshkov, who's another guy that's really highly ranked in that division, like make these top guys start fighting each other.
Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point in building their stardom if you're not going to face them off at some stage?
Yeah, and MMA is really interesting because it's not really, you see guys with dog shit records who are still at the top of their divisions because it's more about who you fight. It's not like boxing where, you go 20-0 to start your career. If you don't go 20-0, you stink, right?
Yeah.
MMA, it's all about who you fight. And so if you can go fight those good guys, beat a few of the good guys. I mean, like literally Aaron Pico, who's the guy we talked about fought kind of a tough roster right away. And even despite the failures that he's had, he's 5-3. The last guy he beat had a pretty solid record. If you put him in there against, say 2 more fights against guys who are really good, he could be fighting for a title at 7-3.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
And just on the subject while we have you there, Usman and Masvidal is pretty much confirmed for International Fight Week. How do you see that going?
Yeah. I think I would probably lean towards Usman. Because I think he'll try to smother him with his with Masvidal's wrestling, which is obviously that's what my plan was to do to him, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. But we have seen that work against him at other points, right? Maya took him down a whole bunch, for example, and kept him down. That being said, if George can figure out how to stuff the takedowns, I think he's decisively a better striker. He's more dynamic. He hits harder. Usman only has 2 TKOs in his whole career. The last one was in a 5-rounder. So if that was a 3-round fight, obviously there's no TKO there. So I think if Masvidal can find a way to keep it standing, which there's a possibility of that he can win that fight for sure.
And obviously, at your expense, as you've said before, Masvidal has now become one of the biggest MMA names in the world.
Yeah, I made him the biggest star in the division.
And you get shares.
And how if he loses to Usman, how much does his stock then drop? Is that hype train completely derailed, or do you think he can hang on to it that he was beaten by a wrestler, a guy that Go ahead.
MMA is fascinating because I always feel like once you reach a base level of stardom, it's hard to drop back below that.
Okay.
Like, Masvidal's never going to be an undercard fighter ever again in his career. Ever. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same with Nate Diaz. He stinks. And he's the main event every time. I mean, you look back, look at his record. I'm going to look it up for you so I can tell you.
It's not the most impressive on paper.
It's not the most impressive record. My internet's being slow, damn it all. But once he beat Conor, he's a main event fighter forever. He will never be less than a co-main event, right? He might be a co-main on a big card where they want him to help boost the stats, but he's never, ever going to be an undercard fighter again, ever in his life.
Yeah. No, I agree. Anything?
Yeah. So he is at 1, 2, 3. He's 4-4 in his last 8. I mean, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't you make the same case really for Cowboy now? Because
Cowboy, same thing. Yeah.
He's 0-3 in his last 3, but he's never going to fight in an undercard ever again.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of guys like that. Once you get to a certain level of stardom, it's hard to drop below co-main because UFC is.
Yeah, you're a household
name, and they're very needy for stars, right? Stars drive the numbers, and so once you get to a certain level of stardom, you're co-main for the rest of your life.
Do you ever think we'll see a cross-promotion fight between Bellator and UFC? Like we saw Lee-Man, we saw Usman face off about 2 weeks ago on Instagram, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was for publicity, obviously. I don't think so.
Do you think that's Dana or is that Scott or is it both?
Obviously, when you're punching down, right? So I mean, Scott would benefit significantly more from a cross promotion than Dana would. So until maybe at some point when there's 2 equal world powers, I don't think that will be the case. But who knows? When they first called me and told me I was traded, I said, "Can that is that a thing? Like, can that happen?" I didn't think that was like. I thought there was a handful of ways that I would unretire, and a trade was not one of the things I thought of. Right? It never even crossed my mind that was a possibility.
Yeah. Can you give us an update on Macy? How's she getting on?
I just got a message for the other day. She's healing up. She had her surgery, I think, last week Monday, I believe. So she's got a long road ahead of her, but she's really young, and I think that'll help her heal fast.
And do you think a loss because obviously there was so much hype behind her and people had such hopes for her. Yeah. Do you think this is the perfect time for that kind of loss to happen now, and not in 3 or 4 fights down the line after winning more when hype is even bigger?
I mean, it's never an ideal time to tear your ACL, right?
Yeah. No.
When it happens, it happens. She's 21 still. She's very young. I mean, we're looking at some of these, and I don't think it's nearly the same with females, although some females are having success. But a lot of these males are finding more success in their late 20s, early 30s, right? That's when they're finding a lot of success. And so, if you look at how much time does she have till her late 20s, early 30s, I mean, she's still got a decade, right? We're a long, long ways away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing world champion there. It's anyway.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes.
Do you are you looking to corner anyone else? Is there anyone coming up the ranks that you think I want to be in their corner?
Oh, the corner. Not at this point. I'm doing a lot of podcasting. I love coaching wrestling and running my wrestling academy. My brother and I are opening academies 4 and 5. Macy had to talk me into it a little bit. So when she first approached me, I said, I don't really want to coach MMA. It's not something that interests me all that much. And she was persistent and said, I would really like you to coach me, except X, Y, and Z. And man, just the way she speaks, I believe in the fact that she's going to be a champion. So I said, okay, let's do this. This will be fun. And I love coaching elite athletes, whether it's wrestling or otherwise. So if the right opportunities came around, I would definitely do it. The other thing I think would be a lot of fun is, for a super elite fighter, going in, maybe for a week or 10 days into their training camp, right? And just being there, both from a wrestling perspective and a sports psych perspective, helping them think the right way.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Sorry. And finally, before we let you go, when are we going to see you commentating?
Yeah.
That's what we all want to see.
Well, ESPN
my first gig with ESPN is actually the one that I told them, of all the things I want to do, this is the number one. And, they were pushing me towards the MMA side, but I said, this is number one. It's the NCAA Wrestling Championships. That's next month in March. I said that was the number one thing I wanted to do, and I get to start with them at that event. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I love NCAA wrestling. I podcast. I have four wrestling podcasts a week, one with Rudis and 3 with Full Wrestling. So it's obviously my passion.
Yeah.
And so they rewarded me with the number one thing that I want to do. I get to do. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Was there any break in the case of the spy?
Valentina, it's obvious she's a spy. Come on,
man,
tell me that's not obvious.
Did I see on your Instagram her manager was stabbed or shot or something a few years back, or her coach or something?
Yeah, we talked about it on my podcast with Funky and FRB. Yeah, someone confirmed that was. I didn't even hear about that. That Brian brought that up. I'm like, really?
And has she reached out at all, or she's kind of laughing it off, or is she coming back to you?
I think she likes the attention there. It's playing pretty well. And she's obviously playing into it. You guys saw that picture she put up a couple weeks back?
Yeah.
Was it fun? Okay, she's got, the picture of her with the gun. So she's leaning into it, which is, it's good
great.
because...
Yeah. It's good for everyone.
I mean, it's good for everybody.
Make sure she doesn't get a hold of you before you come to Ireland. Whatever happens after then, that's fine. But not before the end of February. Ben, thanks a million for coming on. We'll see you in
10 days.
10 days.
Not even 9 days.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Sounds good. Looking forward to it, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Ben.
Appreciate your time.
All the best.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks,
bye-bye.